Mhm. Okay. Hi, I want to welcome everyone. It's 10 a.m. right now, and I know that sometimes it takes people a minute or two to get on, so we're just going to wait till 10:02, 10:03, and then we'll go ahead and get started. If you can't hear me right now, just another option that under audio you can always call in over telephone as compared to doing mic and speakers, and you'll see a phone number and some entry codes below.
Can they see that? You can. We can see her. Maybe while we're waiting to start, we can check audio for people that are here. We like to hear people's voices in our workshop. And so we will generally have people muted, but when we have you unmuted, then you can say something. So I'll maybe go down the list and ask Alice if you could say here.
I'm here. I'm here.
Anne McKinley, can you say here? We'll go to next. Maybe Denise Curvin. Can you say here? We didn't hear you, Anne. So maybe check your speaker settings. Oh, okay. We got your message. Thank you. So feel free to participate if you don't have audio set up to participate in our chat through the discussion. Denise, can you say here? Or we'll move on to Jess. Oh, Jess, would you say here?
Hello.
Thank you. We heard you. And Kelly, can you say here? Okay, so maybe Kelly and Denise don't have audio, but please feel free to join us in chat. Add your contributions in chat. Michelle, can you say here? Okay. We'll go to Molly. Let me see.
Hey ladies, this is
All
Rose.
right, and Noreen, could you?
I just wanted to mention that when we unmute people, it still might take a moment or two depending on how quick their and our internet connections are.
Oh, okay.
And if you'd like, we could go ahead and get started. Are you good on your end?
Yes, we're ready to go.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So I want to start by saying welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Rose Hennessy. I work with the Wisconsin Coalition Against Sexual Assault, and this is our second in a series of prevention education webinars. We're so happy that you could join us today. Our next topic will be adverse childhood experiences on July 31st, and we've got two more after that, so I encourage you to check out our website. For audio options today, I know our presenters are going to go through a little bit of the logistics, but just to let you know, there are two ways to listen, either through a headset or through a telephone. If you want to change or if you experience difficulties with one option during the call, you'll find on your dashboard there's a button called audio, and you can go ahead and select telephone or headset, and that number will be there along with a pin to call in. And so that takes us into our actual topic today. I'm so excited to have presenters from Wise Women Gathering Place talking about intersection with oppression today, specifically with a prevention focus. Now, Wise Women Gathering Place is a community-based organization in Green Bay who's committed to peace, respect, and belonging. Presenting for us today, we have Alice Skinnendorf, the founder and executive director, Bev Scow, Assistant Director, and Jen Shannon, Community Outreach Specialist. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over, and I thank you again for joining us today.
All right, thank you very much. We're very happy to be invited to be a part of this webinar. Today we're going to spend some time looking at oppression magnified by intersectionality with a prevention focus. Can you go next? So, as Rose said, we're from Wise Women Gathering Place. We're happy to be here. We have a small nonprofit. We do some prevention work, and we also do some intervention work with our transitional living program with domestic violence, and we do some work with sexual assault. So, three things we'd like to start with is we'd like to, just to get our us into the room, we'd like to have you do a short poll. If we can put the first poll up and just answer those questions a little bit to see who's in the room. What kind of agency are you involved with? And so just take a quick moment and answer, select one of the following. What type of agency are you with? So 80. Most of us have had the chance to quick select our poll. So yeah. All right, so we can see we've got a range of participants joining us from 46% dual agencies involved with domestic violence and sexual assault, some that are single issue areas, some community-based, and some individual. So thank you all for being here. We're really glad you could join our presentation. We'd like this to be a conversation as we go through and get your insights, and we'll be having times where we invite you to raise your hand which is, the hand, there's a yellow hand with an arrow on the box to your right of your screen. And so when you'd like to say something, select that hand. Maybe if you could all raise your hand right now so we can see that you all have found where your hand is. And as we go through, we will, when we see your hand raised, we'll unmute you so we can hear your voice to add to the conversation. If you prefer or you don't have audio, you can add your thoughts into your questions. And then not in this format of GoToWebinar, not everyone will see all of each other's responses, so one of us will share some of the chat comments into the conversation that way. So can we see if everyone can raise their hand? Oh, they did. Okay, thank you very much. And so now, before we get going, Alice is going to share a little bit about the terminologies before we get going into the topic. Just what is internet? Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought I thought that the best thing to do is to start with what words are we using and what do they mean. So I'm looking up the definitions and the root of the word, and you have that on your screen. And what stood out for me on that definition was to keep down by the cruel or unjust use of power or authority, to rule harshly, tyrannize over, crush, and trample down, because that's what oppression feels like for me. Intersectionality, now, it didn't show up in the dictionary. I guess it's not actually a word yet, or a form of a word yet, but we use it a lot in our field now. So, and what we're meaning by that word, I took from the root word of intersection, which is the place of intersecting, the point or line at where two lines or surfaces meet or cross, the place where two or more roads meet. And if you look on the next slide, we've got kind of a visual of an intersection, and we did a little brainstorming here at the office to think about what are some of the things that are compounding the situation that people are in, that would be an intersection with regards to how they are oppressed and how they receive or don't receive services. So those are some of the ideas we came up with, and we're going to invite you to please add some others that you can think of right now. I'll give you a minute.
So you could go ahead and add those things in the chat box, and Bev and I will be happy to read them out so that everyone can hear what you have to say. So I see a few people are adding language, certainly. Can you hear me? Religion, sure. Education, absolutely. Family type, great. Awesome, thank you.
All right, so then our next slide, we'd like to, when we consider some of these terms and topics can be overwhelming or confusing in our work, and we want to calm ourselves down so that we can fully access our creativity and problem-solving part of the brain. So I'd invite you at this moment to kind of just breathe slowly, breathe deeply. When we do that, it really physically tells our brain that we're okay, we're safe, and we can handle this. So we'd like us to be in our fullest part of ourselves to access learning and creativity as we do this journey together. Thank you for doing that. And now we're going to, Alice will share with us a fish story.
Okay. This is just a little story to bring us into the topic. There are these two young fish swimming along on their way to the school, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys. How's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit. Then eventually one of them looks over at the other and says, "What in the world is water?" The point of the fish story is just that the most obvious and important realities are often the ones that we find the hardest to see and talk about.
There.
Got it? Okay. So on this next page, we're going to look and see. We've, as a group, decided to hold an event, and this is our flyer that we're sending out to the world, bringing people in so that we can give them our wonderful services. So we'd like you to take a look at this flyer and type in your chat box what stands out for you, and we'll read those answers back.
Could you read the story again? There was some background noise happening.
Oh, the fish story? I'm so sorry.
For the fish story?
Okay. It's really short, so it should be okay. There are these two young fish swimming along on their way to the school, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys. How's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and says, "What in the world is water?" The point of this story is just that the most obvious and important realities that are present are often the ones that are hardest for us to see and to talk about. So that leads us into our event that we're going to have, for which we created this fabulous flyer, and we'd like your feedback on this flyer. If you could look and see, take a moment to look at it and read it over and tell us in your chat box what stands out for you, and we'll read back out the answers.
All right, so I'm noticing some energy in this post. Someone says, "Midnight meeting, ah yeah." Someone else is commenting on the typeface, standing out to them. The color, and that childcare is provided.
So what do you find appealing about this event? Or what do you find confusing?
Someone is noticing the two types of ladies on the cover. Someone else is noting the swimming. Someone is commenting on one thinner and one bigger gal. Someone else isn't quite sure where 6 fathoms below sea level is. Someone else is noticing the very thin mermaid body type. It says discussing accessible and affordable, but you still need to pay, and it might be difficult to get there. Someone else says it seems like everyone is welcome. A little confusion about how much the admission fee really is.
What barriers might prevent someone from attending?
Someone else is noting that Bob Sponge is our organizer. Someone's wondering what other equipment we should bring. Someone does not like kelp. Someone else does not have a mermaid outfit. Barrier, I don't have any scuba gear. Barrier, I don't have any sonar message to register. Midnight is awfully late for some of us to attend. Where could I get a quahog shell? Someone is wondering.
so there might be a few barriers here, I see. Would you come to this event?
Probably not. I would feel pretty out of place. The childcare staff is maybe a little scary. I don't know exactly when it is, so probably not. I sure would. I love water. Yes, even if just out of curiosity.
Just to step on the call real quickly, I'm so sorry. It sounds like that there's a phone caller that's not muted. If someone's calling in through phone, if they can press *6 to mute themselves. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, all of this thinking about our flyer led us to wonder if we see our own culture. So we're going to take a couple minutes to explore Wisconsin because this is being put on by the Wisconsin Coalition. So let's see if I can talk and juggle. What are, if you could respond in the question box, or if you'd like to raise your hand, we'll unmute you. What are some things that come to mind when you think of Wisconsin? This could be words or phrases or images.
Go to your attendee
Want
list.
to read them?
Okay, so we have farms, cheese, beer and cheese, Packers, beer, cheese. What will Scott Walker do next? Drinking culture, obesity, brewers. And are there any hands? Okay, all right.
All right. So what are some things about Wisconsin, maybe more specifically, that we enjoy?
Local farmers, water, lakes, forests, love the 4 seasons, weather, really, rivers, lakes, and greenery, outdoors. Great.
Oh, and people?
Oh, people. Mm-hmm.
All right. And how about some aspects of Wisconsin that perhaps frustrate or challenge us?
Governor, hard to educate rural areas sometimes, drinking culture, economy, mining, politics, political climate. Yep.
All right. So we're going to talk a bit about different things that make up culture, right? So clothes, food, music, religion. Hang on to those ideas for one moment. We have a poll for you. Let me find it. I'm going to launch the poll right now, and if you could please answer as honestly as possible. All right, we got answers pouring in here. I bet everyone looks fabulous. Just a few more folks. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close it and let you all see what everyone is what everyone is wearing. And we can see dress slacks are the prevailing cultural dress of sexual assault workers in Wisconsin today, at least, followed by a dress or a skirt and perhaps some jeans. Fantastic. So let's see if we can generate a list here. What are some clothes that come to mind when we think of Wisconsin? A cheese head. Absolutely. I'm not wearing mine today, but yes. Sweatshirts. Sure. Warm boots. Perhaps in all your clothing items here. Overalls like farmers wear. All right. Maybe a heavy coat. Flip-flops in January by that one neighbor. We all have them. Maybe native regalia, anything Badger Packer. All right, let's try this next one. What are some Wisconsin foods that we like? Cheese curds, brats, absolutely. What other foods do we enjoy around here? Corn, sure. Fry bread, brats, wine, sherries. Oh, sure, Door County, yep. Frozen custard. Cranberries, apples, lots of fruit. Pasties. Oh gosh, I'm getting hungry. Let's talk about music. What are some types of music that we like in Wisconsin? Polka. Oh my. Polka. Other types of music? Country. Thinking country USA. Absolutely. Folk. Summerfest. Sure. Blues. Mainstream radio. Yep. All right. Top 40, R&B. Yeah, lots of things. How about language? What are some languages spoken in Wisconsin? So things we hear people speaking. English, Hmong, Spanish, oops, Oneida, ASL, sure. Our Midwestern accent, we're known for that sometimes too. French, okay. German or Amish. I apologize for my lack of capitalization, I mean no disrespect. How about some values, things that we hold to be true in Wisconsin or that motivate and guide our actions? Family-centered, protect nature, our work ethic, sure, educational attainment, hardworking, non-direct communication sometimes, sure. Self-sufficient. Sure, we definitely see some themes coming out here. My word is my bond. Okay, what are some religions we find in Wisconsin that we see people practicing? Lutheran, sure. Longhouse. Mormon. Catholic. Non-affiliated, sure. Okay. A Methodist. All right, and are there any other ideas or concepts out there about Wisconsin that come to mind when we think of Wisconsin culture that we've missed? Oh, all of our lakes, sure. odd pronunciations, an aging population, sure. Polite Midwesterners, sure. All right. Oops. All right. We'll make sure these slides can be available to all of you if you'd like our notes from today.
So now we're going to take a little bit of time and kind of center ourselves again and what is our prevention culture. So we're just going to quietly kind of close your eyes if you wish, but what has been our main way of doing things when we talk about doing prevention in Wisconsin. And think about a memory that you have in making a good connection in your prevention work. And what was the things that made that connection meaningful or good? What is a memory that you have where you're wondering how I could have made a better connection? What is an image we have of ourselves? And what image of ourselves will help us reach more people in need? So as you ponder those questions, what of these questions is catching your attention? If you want to make a comment in the chat or raise your hand if you'd like to contribute to the conversation, what about this is standing out to you?
So we have one person trying to figure out exactly what prevention actually means. Sure. Mm-hmm. The third question is standing out. So what is a memory you have where you're wondering how you could have made a better connection? The last question seems important. What image of ourselves will help reach more people in need? Sure. An image of myself that will allow me to help more people is a bilingual self. I'm currently trying to learn Spanish. Great.
All right. Well, thank you. So we're going to spend a little bit.
A couple more ideas. Advocate doing school presentations with young male college students. Sure. That looks like this answer is coming from a female. What image of ourselves will help us reach more people in need? Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. So we're going to spend a little bit of time now taking a look at this model. It's called the power of image shift. And we've got it from technology of participation. It's a facilitation method, and this is a way to help us kind of see where we're at and where we possibly can shift or change things, you know, for something different. So this is what we're going to end up with, and we're going to start in the process is looking at the behaviors that we may want to change. So as we look at our Wisconsin prevention culture, some of you raised up in the previous slide some of your responses that we want to be able to reach more people, that there are many people who are not served or are underserved in Wisconsin. And one of the things that came up in some discussions is that sometimes we have a one-size-fits-all. We have our prevention package that we take on the road and we apply it very similarly in different settings. So this might be something we want to take another look at. And the next slide made us kind of look at, well, what's the current governing image? And we're kind of coming from our area of expertise. Some of us are from an agency that specializes in sexual assault or domestic violence, or maybe we're coming from a community group and we have that as our area of expertise. And we approach prevention with that lens, sometimes operating in silos. And so the next slide is kind of looking at the values that we're operating under that governing image, And the arrows are the messages that support those values or lead to those values. And so some of the messages, you know, it's coming from my experience. I'm only one person. I don't have much time. I live in a rural area. There's no intersectionality here. So there's values of historical trauma. All people have layers of trauma in their past that have been carried forward to the next generations. That kind of creates our lens that we see the world. There's a mainstream model that works for many. Ignorance, there's more to learn, and we believe it's adequate, you know, with the limited resources we have. So in our field, we have a lot of gifts, qualities, or capacities to help us in our work. A lot of us are coming with social work capabilities, many with social work training. There's a lot of caring. There's been a commitment of resources. Our agencies wouldn't be operating if we didn't have some source of funding to keep us going. And there's a lot of passion and dedication. Everyone on the call is taking some time to look at this issue because it's important to you. And we thank you for joining us on this journey. So then the next part of this is looking at what are the behaviors that we want to develop? Where's the shift that we'd like to go? And so in the conversations, we thought being intentional about the intersections so that more and all can be effectively served in our community. And so the shifting, governing, or guiding image would be more of a holistic, where all the communities or perspectives could be included as we work to be effective in preventing violence in our world. So then we looked at, the values that would help us with those behavior change is looking at the partnerships between these different individuals and between the different agencies, the expertise of the sexual assault agencies and the domestic violence agencies, the community-based agencies that have a long-standing relationship with their community members, cultural awareness, trauma-informed care, being aware of how that historical trauma has impacted each of us and how our agencies can be more responsive to help everyone out. The messages that would help reinforce those values, some we have identified are that having enough resources for all would be a great message to support that. Having whole agencies focus on aspects of prevention and all of this. And another message is we need each other. We need all of us to do this work. And so we believe all of those will help lead to those behavior change that we're looking at. So Alice and I were at the SAVAS training this about a month ago now. And these are the people that spent a little bit of time on that sticky wall behind you. You can see these are their responses to what are ways to serve all survivors. So they spent some time on saying, how can we work to do that behavior change and be holistic and look at how we can reach everybody in Wisconsin who's needing support and services. So we're going to spend a little bit of time now reviewing some of their suggested ways to serve all, and then we're going to spend some time and seeing what this group, all of us, would add to that with a prevention focus. So this group wasn't necessarily prevention focused, but they were trying to be holistic and getting services to all. So we're going to first, Alice will help us reflect on that, and then Jen will help us to generate ideas on what more we can do with the prevention focus.
Okay, again, if you could either type your comment or question in the chat box or raise your hand. We're going to just look at the whole finished product that we came up with as a group there, and ask you to take a quick scan and tell us what are one or two words that stand out to you as you look.
So active listening is standing out. Collaboration. Sure.
What do you see that looks interesting? Oh,
Two more.
sorry.
Strengths and not condoning biases and their own timeline. Sure.
What's interesting?
Or what looks clear. No, go to the next slide.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. What's looking clear to you?
Someone is chatting in, not showing favoritism.
Okay. What looks challenging?
Respect. Sure, thank you. Legal resources, certainly.
What do you see on this page that draws you in because it looks promising for prevention?
We have one more comment that might be challenging, and that's the bilingual. So it seems like we know more about serving those who have been victimized rather than prevention. Something that might look promising is providing a safe environment.
Or drawn in.
Community education is perhaps drawing us in. Compliments, celebrating achievements, drawing us in.
What do you see that looks like it might not fit for us as preventionists?
Oh, one more drawing us in. It's community collaboration.
What looks easy to try out first?
Education and prevention. The compliments, absolutely. Collaboration, sure. Follow-up. Try first a cup of tea and no pressure. I like, wait, why am I talking?
What's missing? What can we add specific to prevention?
Maybe more alternative support, funding and time. Actively engaging all genders, sure.
What are some steps we could take to proceed?
Engaging people who are already community leaders in our prevention work. Great. inviting new collaborators. Making language inclusive, it's not their fault, rather than it's not her fault, and her in quotes. It looks like a lot, maybe picking one or two places to start. Another one, using free media to get prevention messages out. Sure, great.
So, you have been asked to give a prevention presentation to a women's group that meets in your community in Wisconsin. There will be 8 women, and they start at 6:30 p.m. You're to prevent for 1 hour. So what is your response to this? We have a poll. We'd like you to just do a quick answer to what is your first response to this invitation to do a presentation.
Would it be a good time to let you all know that your answers are anonymous? All right, give it a few more seconds and I'm going to close it. Looks like we've got almost everyone. So here are your results. What a fabulous group of preventionists. The majority of us are thinking, awesome, I can't wait to do some research on the latest and greatest in prevention. And some of us are extremely prepared and we have a presentation all set, waiting for us in the drawer to recycle.
All right, great. So what about this scenario is familiar to you?
We have one comment coming in. It just says, tee. Thank you for laughing at our jokes. Someone is saying something familiar is, I only have 1 hour to get ready for this. Kind of a vague request. That seems familiar. Limited details in a request. I don't know anything about these people other than that they're women. Someone else resonating, yeah, the same, being given a time frame. The audience is women. That seems familiar. Someone else says, this is just our regular routine.
What might be challenging as you're planning this presentation?
Perhaps not knowing the experiences of the women in the room. Someone says, I don't know where they're at. Someone else says, prevention is a huge topic. What's most important to talk about or discuss in 1 hour? Making it resonate with the audience. Not knowing what information they would like to be presented. That's when I would ask specifically what they're hoping for from the presentation. Just a one-time opportunity for this group. Comfort level of the audience with the topic. Likely there are victims in the audience.
What other types of diversity might be in the room?
Someone's chatting in age. Sure. The sky is the limit. Are there language barriers?
What might happen if these other aspects are ignored?
You might lose your audience members. There won't be any buy-in. The messaging might not reach everyone, and you're likely to offend someone. You should expect the unexpected. Terms that we use, like abuse, offender, etc., might be really unfamiliar to the group. you might get frazzled.
What could you do instead to be more inclusive?
Make the talk interactive, get to know the audience. Do a focused conversation. A good intro. Tell them about you so they will hopefully open themselves up. Read a short survivor story to set the tone. Maybe an icebreaker to get to know one another. All right, so our hope here is, food perhaps is another way to make sure everyone feels included. It's just coming in. So our hope here is that we can look a little bit at ways that we can integrate those concepts that the SAVIS group came up with a more prevention focus. So the SAVIS group remarked that an important way to serve all survivors is to support them on their healing journey, and these were the ideas that seem to fit under that idea. What are some ways that in the prevention world we could perhaps be more supportive of people on their healing journey to pull in some of these concepts in a more prevention-focused way? How do I ask that? I'll keep an eye on the question box. So someone's adding in that we could perhaps convince our government to stop food deprivation. How do I ask this better?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We could create safe spaces. Sure.
I think one person asked for clarification a bit, and you know, we are not clear. Sometimes there's prevention and there's degrees of prevention. You know, we talk about primary prevention and we talk about secondary prevention. So like after something's happened, how to prevent it from happening again. So I think this supporting the healing journey is kind of recognizing that there's violence in our world and there's people who have been harmed by it. So perhaps supporting the healing journey is a part of prevention to carry forward in the future. So how are ways that we can support the healing journey as we continue in our prevention work?
We got idea coming in, more prevention work with parents and grandparents. Can you read them? I can't type it down.
Okay. Believe in the absolute value of every person, recognize that we all need healing from living in such a violent culture, learning more about the history of inflicted trauma. Did we say giving a client the option of whether they would like to get together again in a week or 2 weeks, give them time frame options? Awesome. Great.
Okay, so the next category that the SAVIS group came up with was coordinated community collaboration in education. And these seem to be about
I think this is kind of about the partnership idea, about recognizing some of the experience each other have with our different lens, but how can we coordinate and communicate and collaborate to get the education out and accessible for everybody.
So what are ways in the prevention world we could bring more coordinated community collaboration into our education work?
Work with schools, churches, community organizations to engage youth and their support systems. Approach organizations that you haven't before. Meet with others doing prevention. This grouping does not have a large enough focus on the community. So get youth involved in prevention, more grassroots. Collaborate with the Department of Justice to help with PREA.
I think PREA is the Prison Rape Elimination Act.
Oh, thank you. Focus on community as partner, not just recipients of program. Yeah. Utilize media as a tool for awareness and coming together. Nice.
All right, so our next category, oh, one more idea, reaching out to experts who work with specialized populations to learn from them and make programming inclusive. Absolutely. So our next one is strengthening through self-care. And it seems this one's about making sure that advocates are able to take care of themselves as well as survivors. So what are ways that we could bring more of those qualities into our prevention work? Yes, we do. We need
self-care too. Debriefing.
Absolutely. Being mindful of your schedule and not overbooking prevention presentations. Sure.
Celebrate the little victories and successes. We need to drink water. Educating the community about GMOs. Oh, prevention coordinators are often silos. Find ways to connect with other advocates and PC at other agencies. Educating, about GM. Breathe and centering, a tool can always use. Post thank you cards and other positive, inspiring things.
All right, thank you for those. Our next one is titled Acknowledging Each Survivor with Respect, Compassion, and Celebration. I think there was some energy around this as a place to start as we were first looking at the whole chart. This one was about adding some of those compliments and celebration of achievements, showing compassion, not condoning others' biases, and respecting survivors' timelines. So what are ways that we see this fitting well into our work as preventionists?
Let's teach and learn about our amazing capacity to be resilient.
Sure.
Thanking someone who discloses during a prevention presentation. Never forget there are survivors in our audiences. See each person as someone that has a role to play in prevention. Everyone can learn bystander intervention skills.
Any others here?
Acknowledge diversity. Set up extra time, if possible, after each presentation so that you can speak with survivors. Learning styles. Make sure to mention men. Pay attention to and address them, to the learning styles.
Great. All right. Oh, pardon me. This next category was called alternative support, and there was only one idea in it around using animal therapy, but certainly there are lots of ways to think outside the box when working with survivors to make sure you're serving everyone. What are ways that we could seek alternative supports or alternative ideas in the prevention world so that we're able to reach more folks?
Ask what they need. Social media. Ropes courses. Helping whole families. Parent-child bonding. Role-playing. Ask youth how to appeal to that age group.
Great ideas.
Suggest volunteer opportunities. Studying scenarios in a safe group. Creating counter ads.
I know we're typing, but would you mind elaborating, Jess? What's a counter ad? Take your time.
One-word checkouts allow you to connect individually with folks after. Teach media literacy. Counter ads is analyzing media print ads and having youth create their own ads media.
Cool idea. Thank you for expanding on that. All right, awesome. I think we have 2 more here. So stepping stones to safety and legal options. Looks like this one involved making sure that we're safety planning with all survivors, looking again at alternative options A or B or maybe something else, and just really a focus on safety. What are some ways that we can incorporate safety in prevention, and maybe what are some ways that the legal world touches the prevention world?
Let's see, how to handle disclosures. Teen dating violence or child abuse prevention policies. Yeah.
I have to agree with handling disclosures. Sometimes I feel like I focus so much on prevention I'm rusty when it does come up.
Legislate a mandate for community service with law licenses. Doing prevention education with potential jurors in mind.
Definitely. Great, thank you for your feedback. All right.
So we're moving along faster than we kind of thought. So we're doing good. So as we do those, should we do it? I don't know. Well, oh, okay.
We have 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay. So thank you for sharing. We believe we've added significantly to this conversation about how we can change behaviors in our prevention work so that more people are effectively served. So in looking at the shift, the ideas that you guys came up with each of those cluster titles, I think will make a difference in developing in the behaviors about getting more and all people effectively served and being intentional about those intersections. So we really appreciate you bringing we all learned a lot from each other's ideas, and we look forward to continuing the partnership as we move forward in creating these changes in the work that we all do. So thank you all for sharing. Please keep in touch with us. Our connection information's there, and we'll have this slideshow with the ideas you've added available for you after the event. So thank you all for participating. We all enjoyed our time with you.
Questions?
Any questions? Do we have time for some questions?
Hi, this is Rose. We do have time for questions if anyone has them, either to write them in or to put them in the chat. Technically, we have scheduled out till 11:30 today, which is 20 minutes, but we're always welcome to end early, so we can prepare for the 8 people presentation tonight.
We do have one final poll about your thoughts on the webinar today, and I'm going to launch that right now. Also, if you have any questions for Bev or Alice and I, you can go ahead and type them in the question box, and we'll get to them shortly after this poll.
Okay.
Oh, here. This
Okay.
And this one.
So we had a couple questions. Do you have recommendations for talking to teens about intersectionality or oppression or activities in the classroom? So one of our programs that we use in the classroom is a healthy relationship tool that Alice Skinador wrote called Discovery Dating. And it's a curriculum that we found is increasing personal agency, which is our belief in our ability to do something and our belief in our ability to follow through and do something. And we're believing it has an impact on violence by building people's confidence and being able to think things through better, that it's accessing the frontal lobe and helping young people. As we know, the frontal lobe matures, up to 25 years of age. So the more opportunities that people have to access that and stretch that can make a difference in them understanding consequences and hopefully taking a moment to stop and prevent doing acts of violence. So that's one of our approaches that we do.
I think many of us probably at different conferences have seen the man and woman box where you write stereotypes about gender in the box and then talk about what happens when you step outside that box. Sometimes we'll pull in, so here at Wiseman we work primarily with Native American students, so we'll ask what are specific stereotypes to Native American men or Native American women, and sometimes that'll bring out more ideas than we had thought of previously, or it shifts the conversation a little bit by making it about other aspects of intersectionality. And two, with our WISE youth group that meets after school, we've done a handful of activities on just different kinds of diversity and looking at different aspects. That probably would be a place for us to challenge ourselves, tying it back to a healthy relationships message in addition to the idea that, all people have value and different aspects of intersectionality deserve respect.
I think another way we do is we pay attention to being accessible. So we try and be mindful of presentations we do and recognize that there's many different learning styles in the room. And so some people learn better by having a visual picture, some need visual words, some need to hear it auditorily, some need to get up and move, music. So we try and incorporate those different learning styles so that people will get the message who may happen to be silo learners. They'll have access to the information, but it's also the brain is unconsciously taking in information. So the learning we do at the different levels is also going in and reinforcing those messages for all the people in the room.
You're on.
Another thing that came to my mind that I think we do a lot is we make ourselves available not as the experts there to teach things, but as a vehicle for people to explore their own wisdom. And we're able to help them search inside their own experiences and their own intuitions and their own knowledge and come up with what they already know that they've not been able to act on because they didn't, it wasn't put out there by the experts as something to do or not do. And I think that has helped bring people to a really highly engaged energy about trying to do this kind of work.
Yeah. One of the ways we do that is by doing a focused conversation. So at the end of every class, there's a designed focused conversation to help people kind of notice what was presented, what stood out to them, how they connected to it, where they were happy about it or frustrated with it, to what the relevance or the meaning of it was to their life, and to then consider what they might do now with that information. So we went through several focused conversations through our presentation today, where we got a lot of good information from all of you, and that's a great tool, to enhance with your learning. Top Focused Conversations is a great training. If you get a chance to take that training, I highly recommend it. It gives you the skills on how to ask the questions at 4 different levels that start at a very safe place where people can participate with a one-word, just what do you see or hear, that's not getting to emotions or meanings that could be up for debate and committed action, but starting them off at a surface level and gradually bringing them in with the option to participate at a deeper level. So part of it is about creating that safe space where people can get out of their brainstem of fight, flight, or freeze and truly open themselves to considering all the possibilities and considering their role in that action.
We have another question coming in. Will there be future webinars like this? Rose, maybe that's a good question for you.
Yeah, definitely. We have 3 upcoming webinars scheduled for the rest of the year. At the end of July on the 31st, a presentation called Adverse Childhood Experiences. You may have heard of this study. It's specifically done looking at trauma in children and some of the impacts that come in adulthood, mainly health focus, but other focus as well. The exciting thing about this webinar is we're having Child Trust Fund do it, and they're actually using updated data that they're compiling right now. So this will be the most recent statistics that we have in Wisconsin. In September, at the end, September 25th, a presentation on integrating primary prevention into intervention-based presentations. And then at the end of November, community and societal level interventions in prevention. In order to access those, you can always visit our website, wacasa.org, go to our prevention page. We also send out reminders to the prevention listserv, and if that's something you're interested in joining, please go ahead and reach out to me. I'll go ahead and I just put that in, put my email in, and you can always email me to subscribe to our listserv.
Oh, there's another question. When will your next Top Focus workshop be? So we'll be hosting a Top Top Facilitation Methods training in September. If you go to our website, we've got them posted there. You can also, Chicago and Minneapolis offer, actually they're all across the country, the top facilitation trainings, but we'll be offering one September 10th through the 11th. And in our discovery dating training, our teacher training, which is coming up in June, we do spend half a day on training people how to design their own focused conversation, because we think those teachable moments are really important. So we have focused conversations designed in discovery dating, but when something's happened in the community and the kids are all wrapped up in that, we'll just stop and help them process that by doing a focused conversation. Or if you do add-ons and have someone come in and do a presentation from the Sexual Assault Center, you could design a focused conversation to help the youth integrate that into how they want to use that information. So is there any other comments or questions? Or what other comments or questions would people like? One of our facilitation tips we have is to answer open-ended questions, not yes, no. Are there any other questions?
certainly want to thank all of you for your participation today. It's always a strange interface to be looking at screens and not each other's faces, but we really appreciate all your feedback during the activities.
Yep. And this is Rose. I just want to say thank you so much, our folks at Wise Women. Maybe everyone can raise their hand as a thank you and shout out. I'm going to do it. I'm a participant. It's up. Thank you so much. And again, any questions, you can see that their emails are on the screen. You can reach me. I put my email in the chat. And we're so glad that you took the time to join us today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.